Every now and then, I love taking a completely left turn and scrapping up ideas I normally wouldn't do on my own. One day, a buddy of mine comes over who happens to play bass and guitar, and in the midst of a humble jam session, we were able to transform a bare-bones live jam into an organic-sounding house track, set for any club or saloon near you. Layer by layer, we stacked electric bass, laid down a couple of guitar parts, and slapped it all on top of a hyperactive drum beat. With only bass and guitar, a basic drum pattern, and almost nothing else, other than some effects, we ended up rocking out a lovely jam. The rest of the track consists mainly of the dynamics and effects needed to finish the overall production and give it the impact we were going for. First, I needed to get the drums going. For this, I went to my Korg EMX1 music production box. I love the Korg beat boxes for one very specific reason: simplicity. Also sounding very nice, the unit was great for not only providing a generic groove, or fancy metronome, if you will, simply for John and I to have something to jam against, but the pattern also ended up being used and saved for the final production. In this example, listen to the drums going along. You'll notice the hi-hats and how their sound is constantly being altered along the way. What you're hearing is an LFO, or low frequency oscillator, which is being applied to the hi-hat's pitch parameter, modulating the pitch of the hi-hat at a specific set tempo. The LFO was set to a triangle wave, and that's what's causing the dipping in and out effect that you can hear, making the hi-hat swirl up and down in pitch over the course of time. This simple yet sinister use of modulation greatly helped turn a simple beat, which started mainly as a practice session, into a production-ready groove. So with the drums set up, our jam session commenced. Once we were happy with what we were hearing, I set up Ableton Live, my DAW of choice, to begin recording. In just a few takes, I was able to capture a few jamming elements, 2 bass parts, 2 guitar parts, and a riffy-esque guitar lick recorded just for flavor for the breakdown. The reason for multiple parts was that we designed a main bass loop for the main bass line and a complementary bass part to help add flavor to the original bass loop. The same went for the electric guitar part, which has a main loop and a complementary loop part. What was the reason for separate takes? It's just a tracking thing. We just couldn't do it all live, so it had to be done in different takes. Once I felt that we had all the parts that we needed, I did just a bit of balancing to help set the instruments in place. And after that, our project was pretty much ready to go. Some high-pass EQ on the bass is a great way to remove low-end mud, and low-pass EQ to remove the unnecessary highs that you normally cannot hear on electric bass. For the electric guitar, I could remove even more low-frequency content for a couple of reasons. One, you don't really hear it anyways, so might as well remove it, which brings me to number 2. It simply keeps that extra headroom saved for the bass guitar parts. And likewise, by low-passing the bass parts and removing their mostly unheard high-frequency content, you help leave that headroom for the electric guitar, which presents far more high-frequency content than bass guitar. Conceptually, our jam session turned ideas into a fueled sonic experience, with just the right amount of traditional electric instruments fused with a touch of modern beats. Our goal was to record looped moments of the bass and guitar, instead of trying to capture entire recordings from start to finish. This was useful for 2 reasons. 1, it helped keep my project focused by maintaining a repetitive feel, something that is unique and important to the style of underground dance music that I'm doing. And 2, by looping material in this fashion, I can build up a hypnotic feel to the music, and then, ultimately, let the effects and the production help round things out and fill the space.